Welcome back to the channel, folks. Look what we've got to play with. Ooh. I think it's everything that the GS should be. Come on, give me some personal space here. That's sort of how this bike is starting to feel now. I am not going to be popping wheelies because, as Will from Group 1 knows, I'm not very good at it. Right then, folks, we're here, Group 1 in Brighton. Look what we got. It's the new GSA. My bike's away in. It's going to get the decat headers fitted, the QD decat headers fitted. So they give me the new GSA, 1300 GSA, to play with for a few hours. So there we go. Got the chav green, the option 719. First thing I'm going to be doing is, let me take that off. Right, people ask what I use to power my my phone, to mount my phone. It's this thing. It's about 40 quid. Get it on Amazon. It just clips straight in like that. Boom, that's it locked in place now. And then when you take your phone and chuck your phone on, looky here, see there, wireless charging. So there you go. I'll leave the links down below, make sure you check that out. Keys, wireless, not wireless, keyless. Chuck them in my pocket. Right, I've got this for a couple of hours. Obviously this bike's in high demand. Wow. I mean, it's massive. It's huge. Let me just sort this out. Alright, get rid of that. Yeah, I mean, it's physically, it's enormous. Very narrow here at the sort of, at your crotch area, and then right out wide there. Very wide. 30 odd litre tank. I'll put all the specs up on the screen. I'm not going to regurgitate the manual for you, you can do all that. So first things first, we'll just work out a quick round route on Cali, create a round trip. So let me head east, 100 mile. Okay, right, 108 miles, 2 hours 43. We'll see how we get on with that. Okay, let's do that. Right then, folks. I'll stop, I'll do a little walk around along the way. Just going to play it by ear. I might not do that route exactly, but let's see. So I'm assuming this is going to be pretty much identical to my standard 1300. So what have we got here? At the moment, right, let's put the screen on using this favourite button. I like the electric screen, I really do like that. Okay, chuck on the heating. Right, where's everything else set at? Let's have a little look. So sport, I don't want sport. Settings, all that. What about don't need any of that. Riding mode, pre-selection. So we're in Dynamic Pro. Okay, engine, full throttle response. Okay, so it's a maximum performance. Wheelie is not suppressed. Honestly, if you have a GS and you've got Dynamic Pro and you're finding it a little bit bland, go in there and turn your DTC, either turn it so it's pretty much fully off and you've got maximum power and there's no wheelie control at all, or just bring it down to the next one down where it says slight wheelie possible. Honestly, it's a game changer. I was a little bit despondent with my 1300 GS. I found this. Let's just put that on. Actually, it's a little bit damp and today, so that'll do. I'll put that slight wheelies possible. It's not saying that you're going to be a hooligan, but it just livens the bike up so much. It's a lot of fun. Okay, that's all I need there. Right, boom. Right, let's go. So it's 200 miles of fuel. I'll have to remember and fill it up before I come back. So how does it feel walking it about? Absolutely no bother at all. I mean, it feels just as sprightly as the standard GS. The seat actually feels very firm, but very comfortable. I mean, it should be the same seat as I've got. Maybe my fat ass has just worn my seat out a little bit already. It's got that horrible whine though. Hear it? Still got that horrible whine. That's what I'm trying to get rid of with mine at the moment. Getting it decatted. Well, it's not completely decatted. The QD exhausts, the headers, they have a small cat in there, so it's still Euro 5 compliant, but it's not Euro 6. The 1300GS has to be Euro 6 compliant. That's why it's not stamped as road legal, the QD exhaust, because it's not Euro 6. Gearbox feels lovely. I mean, this bike, how many miles does this bike have on it? 178. This bike has 178 miles on it. It's not even run in. Why do they do that? Why do they give us bikes as demo bikes that have not even been run in yet? The press bikes that you get from manufacturers, they're the same. A lot of the time they're not even being run in. No difference for me at all between this and the standard GS in terms of riding, except I love the physical size of this. I love it. I really do like that. It does not feel bulky, heavy. Feels lovely, really nice. Still feels beautifully balanced, almost neutral, exactly like the standard GS. I don't know how they've done that. I think I actually prefer this. Oh wow, I think I actually prefer this. I like the big physical size of this bike. The stock exhaust actually sounds good as well. It's got quite a nice little overrun on it. Oh wow. And there is oodles of power. There's just loads of power. Do you need any more? No. Would you want any more? Well, if it was on the plate you probably would, but you just don't need it. It's proper fast. Now today, or sorry, yesterday, the new KTM 1390 Super Adventure S was launched, the Evo and the standard model. That is definitely a bike I'm going to have to take out. Oh, my glasses are sticking up. Gee whiz. I mean, a great big hulking machine like this, it should not have performance like that. But I'm so glad it does. I really like this. Straight away, I really like it. I feel at home. Performance, handling, pretty much identical to the 1300GS. I really like this. I feel sort of cocooned by this. Although, is that windier than... Oh, hang on. There we go. So we're at motorway speeds. And I've got my visor just cracked open a smidgen, just a smidgen. But it sounds louder than it does on my normal 1300. I'm not feeling much wind buffeting at all. It sounds louder. Maybe it's because I've not got my earplugs in. That will probably be it, Bruce. God, nice lad. Thick as. Sorry, folks. Sorry. I do actually have a little bit of... excuse me, that wasn't for the cameras. I do actually have a bit of man flu at the moment. The wife and I both came down with it a few days ago. But I'm powering on. For you. For you. I actually spoke with my mate Turner this morning on the way in, and he told me I had to man up. I've got a dream job. Man up. So, for Turner, this is just for you. Right, I thought I may as well show you cruise control whilst we're on the sort of big dual carriageway. So there we go, dual cruise control is exactly the same as all the other Beamers. Activate that, set your speed. But obviously this is adaptive cruise control, so right, even if I whack the speed up to 76, you can see we're only doing 55, 56, because adaptive cruise control is keeping this distance. Obviously this is set at medium distance. There's a low, medium and high sensitivity for the adaptive cruise control. You can alter that via the hamburger favourites button here, but that's it. So it works really well. I really do like it. I used to think, what was the point of that on a motorbike, and now I own a bike with it. It's brilliant. I love it. You have to watch though, because you can sometimes become a little bit too reliant on it, and on a long motorway journey it would be very easy to switch off, so make sure you don't do that. keep yourself alert at all times. Speaking of alert, this also has the proximity sensors. Again, I used to think, what a con, why do you need that on a motorbike? It is actually really useful, really useful. I live in my mirrors when I'm on the bike. I'm always looking in my mirrors. But sometimes, you know, things get by you, don't they? And yeah, it can be literally a lifesaver. So yeah, I would tick that box to have that as an option. Mirrors, as with all the BMW mirrors, cracking, they do the job. No complaints there at all. There's not even vibration with these. One thing, I was expecting it to have a bigger screen. On the 12 and 1250s, the Adventure model had a much wider screen. This one doesn't. This has got the same size as the standard GS. It's got different wind deflectors here as well. Okay, speed change into the 50. Using the blipper. I mean, the blippers are good on these GS's. They're very smooth. They're not sports bike smooth, but they're smooth. It's the quick shifter that can be a little bit lumpy sometimes. I'm so glad they didn't give me the ASA version of this. That ASA is just rubbish. Why people spend their own money on having the ASA fitted, I've got no idea. It feels so neutral in the handling. It's almost like you're just floating around the corner. And the power delivery, even on a big bike like this, I mean, it's punchy. It's lovely. She wants to play. You feel very dominant on this as well, because it's physically such a big bike. You feel like you're dominating the road. There was that lull again with the up change in gears. I went from 4th to 5th there, under a wee bit of throttle. And you can feel there's a delay. There's a delay before the power's delivered. They're doing something. They have done something into the drive shaft. I've said this before. I noticed it on the 1250 when it went in for a recall around about that time, that they were raising concerns about the drive shaft. And I noticed it, but it wasn't, you know, it didn't get in the way of your riding. On the 1300, it's much more prominent. And this has it as well. Okay, so we're in 6th, braking 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. Lovely. That is such a nice. Whoa, sheesh, did I hit something in the road? Felt like the rear tyre gave way there. Weirdly, these foot pegs don't feel as high. Are these the lower foot pegs? Yeah, the bike feels higher up. It feels more comfortable than my 1300. I really like this prominent tank here. You know, I feel like I can really grip the bike. With the standard GS, that slopey tank that it has, I don't feel like I have that connection with the bike like I used to with the 1250, where you could just hook your knees into the tank, especially when you're stood up. In fact, let's have a little look. What's it like stood up? Oh, do you know what? With tank pads, with those tank grips, easy grips or whatever you want to put on there, with them on there, this would be much better for off-roading for sure. Stood up, you could really grip into this. We're going to do a left up here. I'm telling you, I think this gets my vote over the standard one. I was really hoping it wouldn't, but I think it does at the moment. Let's get onto some back roads and chuck it about a little bit. Okay. Coming into a 30. Brakes are lovely. It doesn't feel as instant at the lever as mine does on my standard, but the brakes themselves feel very positive. It's probably because these have just got different levers. They've got that option 719 lever kit, the billet aluminium. Mine are just the standard ones. That's probably all it is, just a different feel. Now, I'm not going to faff about with the different modes, folks. I mean, funnily enough, road mode is slightly less punchy than dynamic, and rain mode is even less punchy than road. Enduro if you want to go and play in the dirt, whack it in enduro mode. And if you want to do lots and lots of fun wheelies, whack it in enduro mode. Although with Dynamic Pro you can turn the wheelie control off, so obviously if that's what you want to do that. I am not going to be popping wheelies because, as Will from Group 1 knows, I'm not very good at them. Right, see there, notice going second to third under power. This is a very nice plush ride. This feels much more engaging than mine. I don't know why this is. Is it because I'm slightly higher up, so I feel more comfortable? I don't know what's going on, because it shouldn't be that much of a difference in the ride between this and the standard GS. I'm going to have to chat to somebody back at the showroom, find out what's the difference between the GSA and the GS then. Seat height, suspension settings. This just feels a much firmer, plusher and higher ride than mine. And I really, really like this. Like, I really like this. Even the box feels smoother than mine. I wonder if BMW have just sorted a lot of stuff out, because I think I pretty much had the first one in the UK of the standard GS, and it's had lots and lots of recalls and updates and blah 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 blah. This feels different. This almost feels like a completely different bike. Not just a big beefy version of mine. I mean, that power's ridiculous. It's awesome. I love it. I'm braking. Lovely. What a grotty, horrible day, isn't it? It looks like it's just getting ready to absolutely bucket down. Well, hopefully the audio's working still. This is the GoPro Hero 13. And I know the audio's still working because it's got audio meters on the front screen now, so I can see them moving when I'm talking, which is great. And hopefully that means it's the mic that's connected and not the external mic that's just picking up a load of wind noise. I'm trusting you, GoPro, to work. Please work. Okay then, so what are my thoughts so far? I'm about 60 miles in, I suppose, been on it for about an hour and 20 minutes so far. I'm going to have to start heading back soon, actually. I really like it. I really like it. It kind of feels like the GS should be. You know, like the standard one seems to have lost a little bit of that GS-ness. It's almost too refined, it's too sleek. I mean, it's ridiculously quick, incredibly quick. But I think I do prefer the physical size of this bike. For me, you know, 6'3", 20 stone, I just feel, I don't know, it just feels more substantial, but it doesn't impact the handling at all. The bike is still razor sharp and quick, seriously quick. Weirdly, at about 50 miles, about an hour in, my bum started to hurt. And then I started to notice that where I said I really liked the width of the tank for gripping with my legs, that was starting actually to get in the way a little bit. So I don't know, it'd be interesting to see, to do a long ride on one of these. I wanted to do around the UK ride on this, but BMW UK I don't think are too keen on that, and I don't think the dealership are too keen on giving me a demo bike to chuck 2,500 miles on. So that might happen, I don't know. Might happen, it might not happen. But I would be interested in doing a bit of a longer ride just to see what the comfort issues are like. The seat definitely doesn't feel as comfortable as mine does on the standard 1300. I don't know what the difference is, if any, but my bum started to hurt, and it doesn't normally hurt on my bike anyway. But yeah, I really do like this bike. Is it enough for me to change the GSA is just a fat GS mantra? I'm not sure, you know. I mean, I can't afford to change it anyway. My bike's got near enough 20,000 miles on it now, and I would take a massive fisting if I traded that in for a new one of these. But if you're in the market for the 1300, I would definitely suggest you take out the GSA as well as the standard GS, even if the Adventure is not normally on your horizon. Take one out because they are markedly different, but both are equally as sporty. It's weird. I don't know how that's happened, but I feel every bit as energetic on this thing as I do on my standard one. Don't know how they've done that. But anyway, right, let's get back. We'll do a few more miles, head back to the dealership, and we'll sum up at the end. So does this count as off-road? There is mud. Come on, I've got the bike dirty. Right, I need to head back now. Yeah, it's definitely more comfortable stood up than the standard. But I tell you, let me just shut this down. Something weird happened there, around about the 50-60 mile mark. This lovely big wide tank that I've been waxing lyrical about, it starts to feel like it's getting in the way, because it's splaying my legs out wide, and I feel like I want to bring my legs in closer. The bike is mansplaining me, mansplaying me. You know, when you sit next to somebody and they've got their legs really out wide, just splayed out wide, and you're like, come on, give me some personal space here. That's sort of how this bike is starting to feel now, which is really weird because I loved the physical size of this initially. Now that big tank's starting to irk me. I tell you, this is why you shouldn't just test ride bikes for like 20 minutes, half hour, even an hour. You know, if you're going to be spending 20 odd grand, you know, this is going to be 22, 23 grand realistically. If you're going to be spending that amount of money, then spend a good few hours on a test ride. You know, ride it for a nice long chunk of time, stop, have a brew, get off the bike, have a look at it, get yourself all refreshed, jump back on the bike again, because the amount of times you do that, and your whole attitude to the bike can change. You can go from positive to negative, negative to positive. Sometimes you feel exactly the same, but there's been many a time I've not. And I'm not saying I don't hate this bike at all. I genuinely don't hate this bike. I think it's a fantastic machine. I think it's everything that the GS should be. But that big tank is starting to just get away a little bit now. And I'm quite looking forward to getting back on my standard one with that slimmer tank. Not something I thought I would ever say. I definitely would have liked to have seen the standard one with a more sculpted tank. You know, in the 1250s it has that beautiful big slab sides to the fuel tank. I like that, and I miss that. I can't wait to hear what mine's like. Oh, I really hope these decat headers have made a difference, a favourable difference. It's kind of been getting me down. The lack of engagement with the with that engine. You're welcome, miss, you're welcome. But these are fantastic bikes, they really are, and you know, I'm nitpicking massively with them. But when you look at the competition, the likes of the Ducati V4 Multistrada, the KTM Super Adventure, those engines, for me anyway, are much more engaging. Much more engaging. They really get the pecker up. Nationals. So I'm hoping with these decat headers, it just injects a little bit of spice into proceedings. If I could just have the bike pop and snarl and fart at me every now and then, that would be good. I mean, this thing it's effortless to ride, you know, it's very, very easy to ride this. Fairly quick, to be honest. It's not an intimidating bike. You know, physically it looks massive. You think this thing is going to weigh the same as the Sun, but it really doesn't. You know, it's surprisingly light to move around, and the second you're on it and you start moving, all that weight just disappears. Gareth at Group 1 in Brighton. Sorry mate, I said I'd be back about 12. I know my timekeeping is lapsadaisical at the best of times, but I was genuinely trying to get back to you for 12. I think I'm going to be there about past at this rate. Maybe just after, once I fill it with fuel. Sorry mate, apologies. Not lying, traffic was crap. I'll tell you what, it doesn't feel like you get the same level of weather protection as you did from the, you know, the old 1250 GSA. On that one you definitely used to feel like you were cocooned. This smaller screen, I think, you need a bigger screen. If you had the old GSA screen on this, I think it would make a big difference. Comfort's definitely, I think, the things that hold this back now. After an hour or so, 2 hours on the bike, putting the miles in, it definitely doesn't feel as comfortable now as my 1300GS. I definitely like the peg height or the seat height. I don't feel as cramped in the legs, but this beautiful big wide tank that I absolutely loved initially, that's starting to have an impact in my comfort. And something I did notice when the cameras are off and I was enjoying the bike a little bit more, it does feel slightly, just a little bit more vague in the front than the standard GS. I think that additional weight has an impact. If you're pushing on and coming into corners, it does feel almost like it's going to understeer, you know, you're like, come on, are we going to get round, and round it, then round it goes. Doesn't feel as sort of sure-footed as you like, if you like, as the standard GS does. Maybe time would tell, maybe I'd get used to it. It's just, you know, you maybe just have to alter your body position, your weight through the pegs more because of this additional weight. But these are just my first impressions. It's a cracking bike, don't get me wrong, you know, like, I am majorly nitpicking trying to find things wrong. I'm pretty sure that if I rode one of these for a full day, I would get used to the size of the tank between my legs. That all said, I am looking forward to jumping back on mine. Right, we're nearly back at the dealership. Sorry Gareth, sorry Josh, late again. I have topped up the fuel though. You've almost got a full tank out of me, almost. So that all said folks, if you fancy trying out the 1300 GSA, get yourself down to your local Motorrad dealership and chuck your leg over one. See what you think. Massive shout out to the folks here at Group 1 Motorrad in Brighton for the loan of the bike and for your top quality customer service. I can't wait to hear what my bike sounds like now with these new headers. But yeah folks, hope you've enjoyed this one. Keep doing your thing, get on out there whenever you can, look after those that you love, but most importantly, live your life. Woo-ah. Right, moment of truth. That's the old OEM stock headers, and we've got the QD ones on. Let's see, what's it like? It's the first time I've heard it. Oh, straight away you can hear. Oh yes. Oh, yes, we're going to have some fun. Now I like her.